This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service in the KFAB studio. You have stumbled upon the only show in the metro area that talks about the growth and development of your favorite city, all sorts of business expansion, construction news, restaurants, retail. You're going to love it. It's always good. It's brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, as well as D&M Roofing and Siding. And without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is legendary in his real estate deal-making competence and track record, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning. It's been a good mid-January week. And I tell you what, everyone's talking about recession, and it looks like there's a good chance we're going to get one later this year. But I tell you, the real estate market's been busy lately.
I thought you were going to be talking about our 19th year on our show.
Oh, yeah, I suppose we.
This is the time where we've been on the air for 19 years.
January 10th.
Yep.
Yeah, and they said we'd never make it past 15 years. And we proved them all wrong.
We showed them, but it is an active market out there.
Yeah, and back to your comments about the show anniversary. When we started this thing in January of 2004, we considered it like a 6-month marketing experiment. We're like, let's do this for a half year and see what turns out. Now it's become its own media company.
Yeah, our first guest blew us off. He'll remain nameless. But yeah, that left an interesting show if you can find that in the archives. But now people are begging to be on the show. Yeah,
it is funny with that first guest because you and I, we'd never been on the radio before. We weren't quite sure what we were doing, hosting a show, and we had all these notes and piles of notes and all this prep stuff. And for this guest, we had carefully crafted all these questions. I think you and I went back and forth on the wording of the questions and all that. And then we can't get hold of it. We're like, time to do some radio shadow animals.
Yep. And but it's worked out. And I thank you, Jeff, for leading our venture for all these years. And it is fun. And all the amazing guests from national experts in real estate and in the entertainment industry and local politicians and business owners. And it's been great. It really a smattering and a plethora of different type of economic development professionals and business owners and politicians. So let's keep it going for another 20 years.
Yeah, next year we'll have to, come up with something big for the 20th anniversary. We'll get started on that.
And we thank our listeners. It wouldn't be possible without all of you listening. And now, last couple of years, the Grow Omaha weekly market report has just taken off.
Absolutely. And without any further ado, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. That's where you can find them online. If you want to stop by, their office is at 114th and Davenport. But however you get a hold of them, the thing you're going to want to talk about there would be a loan for your new house. It's getting to be that time of year when people are thinking, all right, the holidays are behind us. The days, while ever slowly, are getting a little bit longer and a little bit sunnier. So people are thinking, time to buy a house. Let's go buy a house. A lot of people have pent-up demand because it was so hard to get houses for the last couple of years. If this is the time in your life where you want to move, one of the first things you want to do is talk to Holly Schneidewin and her team of mortgage brokers at Eagle Mortgage. See what you can qualify for, get an approval letter, have them explain the process to you. You'll be happy that you did because they've had so many satisfied clients. EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, first up on the docket, there's going to be some new transportation options that will hopefully make Blair, Nebraska a much safer place. You see, right now, Trenton, the truck route to go through the Blair area goes right down the main drag in the dead center of their downtown. 3,000 to 3,600 semi-trucks a day roll through downtown.
Seriously?
Yeah, tragically, within the last year or two, there was a kid that was killed by a truck while crossing the street. And so the plan is to put a bypass, and it's going to run just south of the city of Blair, and it'll connect Highway 30, which comes in from the southwest, and Highway 75, which comes in from the south-southeast, and then you can get those trucks off of Main Street. That's supposed to be starting in about a week or so.
That's impressive truck traffic.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Well, and I would imagine part of the reason for that is there's so much agribusiness food processing. You got the big Blair biorefinery campus that Cargill anchors. There's a lot of industry up there. So moving right along, FNBO will celebrate the opening of its new Gretna location at Highways 6 and 370 with a ribbon cutting this week, January 17th. And that is already open, but the ribbon cutting will be on January 17th. The Omaha City Council approved a new development. It's going to be called The Square, and this is a 4-story apartment project, 30th and Leavenworth. Going to have to demolish a small existing building, and then construction's supposed to start right around April. Completion planned for July of 2024. It'll be an $18 million project, 73 units for rent. Got about $1.8 million in tax increment financing. But what's cool about this, that Leavenworth district from there, say Interstate 480, down to the Med Center area is in play now. Quite a bit of development along there.
Absolutely, and the urban renewal is great. And just in the last 10 to 20 years, to watch Leavenworth really revitalize is incredibly important.
Pretty cool stuff. Well, Children's Hospital and Medical Center plans a 60,000 square foot pediatric outpatient center at 204th and Harrison. This would be on the northwest corner of 204 and Harrison, or immediately south of the ACX 12 movie theater.
Yeah, and that's been talked about for the last couple of years, but I think it's needed, and it'll be a welcome addition to that development. It's that Coventry's taken a long time to develop, but now it's really in the spotlight. And
it won't be small. It's going to be a $46 million project on 10 acres, 2-story building. And part of the plan is to take the outpatient services that are currently at Village Point and move them out there. Presumably that's because Nebraska Medicine is taking more and more of that Village Point space.
Yep.
All right, next up on the docket, Bob and Willie's Wonder Bowl, which has been a big entertainment hit in the Blackstone district, will be opening a second Omaha location very soon in Regency Landing. That's northeast of I-680 and Pacific Street. It'll be right next to Blue Sky Patio and Pickleball, and those are actually sister businesses. And so that Regency Landing, they recently got Early Bird, Twisted Cork reopened. That area is really taking on a lot of momentum.
Yeah, it is, and we'll see. They talked about a major office building there. We'll see if that goes up as well, and hotel and things like that. But it's looking good. Our friends at Access are doing a good job with that. So,
Trent, let's talk a little bit about Southport West. For those that aren't familiar, it's in La Vista. It's part of the development that has Cabela's and the Embassy Suites Hotel there. Just south of the Embassy Suite, there's some retail construction going on. And a lot of our listeners keep saying, hey, what's going in there? What's going in there? So, Trenton, what's going in there?
Well, I'm excited. I had lunch yesterday with my friend Justin Riviera over at Lund Company, and he's been working hard on that. And they've got Starbucks, which will be a freestanding Starbucks. Everybody knows what that is.
Opening very soon.
Right. And they're looking, the last piece of the puzzle for that strip center, they've got, help me out with that, Jeff. They've got a national, the deals they're working on that aren't inked yet, but they're very close to signing leases, a national sandwich shop and a national cookie place. Mm-hmm. But they also have, is it Integrated Windows?
Yep. And PenFed Federal Credit Union.
PenFed Credit Union will be on that west drive-through on the other side. But if anybody wanted a 4,500 square foot restaurant end cap, that's available. And then this is right across from Smash Park, who's closed on the land, and they're going through the city. It's about a 25,000 square foot building, 4 acres, right in front of Cabela's. People have heard of Chicken and Pickle down in Kansas City and stuff, and this is Smash Park from Des Moines.
Yeah.
And so that's going well. Right across from where I've done a ton of work, which is Southport East, the sports complex has a ton of fields open already.
Looks great.
Lights are up. They're playing on them. And next year you'll see even more with the snack bar, the restrooms, and then the field house and stuff like that. So the Southport area has really taken off. There's rumors about PayPal is going to do more work from home, and those buildings are on the block. And there's been some strong rumors about major office tenants taking those over.
And we will keep our eyes and ears sharply focused for any news about that area and bring it to you as soon as we have it.
And I still have 3 lots over there for sale. Be perfect for office buildings, anything to complement retail, office, the sports complex right across the street from that, and by the hotels
in the Southport East area.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about restaurant news, and we have with us Rich Barmettler. He is a well-known restaurant and bar consultant here in the Omaha area, working with managers and owners of restaurants to help them be successful. Good stuff talking that we'll be talking about, and it will be an interesting conversation. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Do you ever use your headphones?
No, you can if you want, but because we don't have callers,
These are cutting out. So
you don't you can use them, but you don't need them. I mean, if you're more comfortable with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we use
Circles like covering your eye.
That's for the best.
I got it hearing it.
That's
Is
probably
that
for the
okay?
best.
That's perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I can just come off your deal.
So Jeff,
Thank you.
Yes?
for the Grow Omaha extra here, you should tell everybody who the first guest was that blew you out.
Wait. Yeah, on Grow Omaha Uncut.
Yeah.
You sure say it is? Now he's a friend of ours, so we're not dogging on him.
and he's no longer employed where he was.
Used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fairness to him, he was in Greenville, South Carolina, and he was supposed to call in, and he was getting ready to take over as the CEO and president of the Omaha Chamber of Commerce, and his name is
David Brown.
Oh,
David Brown.
Yeah, but David, also in fairness to David, especially if you're watching David, he was also in the process of loading a moving truck out of his house to come back to Omaha. So he had a good excuse for missing us.
Did you have him back on at any? Did you have him on?
Probably,
We've had him on a dozen, millions of times.
Okay.
There was a period of time where we'd have him on quarterly. He's probably been on the show more than anyone, and with the exception of maybe like Brad Williams or Jorge or somebody. He's probably, okay, let's say.
So he's been on a lot.
I would say.
He started with us. I mean, when he came to, as far as the time he started at the chamber.
It's very possible he could have been on the show 75 times.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like excessive.
So that could be
No,
a
seriously,
funny
'cause-
story in the future if he'd want you to talk about it. But
we just did.
For 16 years, we had him on 4 times a year.
Yeah.
So
Check
16
one,
times
two.
4 is 64. Plus, we had him that
He
first.
earned his retirement.
He's probably close to 70 times.
Did you guys email each other on the outfits today?
Yeah.
You didn't hear?
I did not get that
It's
email.
supposed to be Army Green today.
Apparently so.
We might be.
Did you guys just happen to dress like this? Remember, you tried to dress like
Afterwards,
this.
we're going to do some basic training.
You're lucky
skills.
we like you, because if we don't like a guest, we tell them to dress as their favorite superhero. We're all doing it. They show up and it's just that.
Or you dress like this and say, hey, we're going to meet you out at Tactical 88. You stand down at the end of the range there. Yeah.
And says we're going to see how agile you are.
Have you been to their new restaurant?
No, but I've heard
It's huge.
good things. And they're exploding business. I mean,
A lot of people
expansion.
Yeah.
Multiple markets and all that.
We'll see if that takes off. But this one's huge.
Okay, so we want to talk about some clients you're working on.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
just kind of overview and updates. You know,
Okay.
it's all
If there's
economical
any
growth.
trends.
Okay, and then we want to talk about some closings.
30.
Okay.
And
These,
this keeps swinging.
He's-
Yeah, try to get it up.
these video guys are so demanding.
Very
Trying to get it up.
difficult.
Is that what you
Yeah.
guys? Oh shit.
Those video
See?
guys are like,
Does that work?
That's why I went into radio.
Check.
can you move that an inch?
I don't want to
It's uncut.
video guys.
Oh, I know.
Check. I'll just go with that. How's
You
that?
seem to be struggling with that.
Here we go.
That's what my wife says.
This is Nebraska's news, weather, and traffic station. News Radio 1110 KFAB and
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beal sitting next to Trenton Magid. And this is Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. And tell you what, if you are the owner of a commercial building, one of the most expensive things you have to worry about is the roof. You want to prevent problems on that roof before they happen, which means you should get a hold of D&M Roofing and Siding immediately, if not sooner. They've got an amazing preventative maintenance program that has proven to save commercial building owners a lot of money. And they take good care of you. They communicate with you. And they just do an all-around great job. And so you can find out more about them at D&M Roofing, or rather just dnmroofing.com.
I want to give a shout out to one of their employees. He's a great expert in roofing, especially flat roofs. His name is Michael Hansen, and we have a house that has a flat roof, and he came out, gave us an estimate and everything. He actually did a repair, and just easy to talk to, and I couldn't say more good things about the team at D&M Roofing.
We're going to bring on our friend Rich Barmettler. He is a well-known restaurant and bar consultant. Been on the show before. Rich, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I apologize for not wearing the Army green today, guys.
Yeah, Trent and I are both wearing Army green. You've got a brighter green on, though. I do. So that qualifies.
Bringing the spring nearer to us.
So what does a restaurant and bar consultant do exactly?
Well, that's a good question. Any day and every day is different, but the services we provide are startups, so we are involved with every step of the way: concept creation, lease negotiations, site selection, so forth, and then we create the business, put all the systems and processes together, hire the teams, train the teams, create the menus, all the flow, and then get them opened and continue staying on board with them for a while to make sure it works in the right direction.
But another part of your business also with Barmettler
Consulting Group
is to fix something. If something is off, or they want to change their menu, or the wine list, or whatever it is. So it's kind of a cafeteria, no pun intended, of services that you have.
Yeah, it's a suite of services, or I call it a menu of services. I actually, 16 years ago, created a menu of services, and still to this day I use that when I'm talking to new potential clients. And that's exactly right, Trenton. It's going in and it's business advising, working with their top line and their bottom line. Early in, it was a lot of recovery work. My corporate side of my experience did a lot of that for some companies I was working for, so I gained a certain skill that way. And it's evolved more to the business advising and just improving the performance than trying to pull them out of the hole.
And from a real estate perspective, real estate broker perspective, and landlord perspective, people could do far worse than to recommend their restaurant clients that need help, especially new restaurant clients, to get a hold of Rich to help perfect it, because those landlords want the rent, and they want them to stay in their shopping centers a long time.
Right, and you don't want vacant space. That's not good for anybody. And a lot of times, there's just a few things that need to be done. It's literally what I do is I come in and I try to work with the owners to look through the same lens that we have, but from a different angle. And once we move into that side and work on their business side of things, it's really a shift. It's an energy shift. It's a mind shift. A lot of times the teams start really reacting differently in a positive way. And it takes a little time, but they just need to kind of see the path, and I help them down that path.
One thing I'm guessing that you don't do is, if they know who you are, is you don't dress up in a disguise incognito and walk into the restaurant. You're about what, 6'8"?
No, I'm 6'5" and
6'5",
and a few hundred pounds. We'll just leave it at that.
So, Rich, it's been an interesting time for restaurant owners. We had the pandemic. They're competing against inflation and high fuel prices for a long time. There's been staffing shortages, the supply chain that Trenton just mentioned. Given all of that, we might be going into a recession. There are a lot of indicators that say that we probably are. So given all of that, where is the restaurant industry in Omaha right now?
Plenty of them are opening.
Isn't that the amazing thing? There are so many openings, and I have 6 that I'm working on over the next year and a half myself. Where is it? It is thriving. I think it's a little bit we'll call it a little gray as far as what the actual performance is, because unfortunately there's a lot of owners out there that are on the ropes right now, and they're hanging on, and that's always the case, that there's a few that are doing that, or a small percentage, but it's a lot more now.
There's some spaces that say, existing restaurants that have a sign on the door saying, "We'll reopen when we find the workforce," or the whatever, and I just find that heartbreaking.
Yeah, that and cutting down days, cutting down hours. Literally, you could be in one place one day, and the next they're closed, and the next day after that they're open again. It is down to that finer point, and really where the restaurant industry has gotten to. I don't want to go too far off on track with this. Is that the customer base has had to accept, we'll say, the conditions, right? So it's a little slower service in general. I'm not saying everybody, but in general, it's a little slower service. A lot of the team members that are coming in are less skilled. There's less development and so forth. And it's just setting kind of a different baseline. But as long as the customer base is okay with that, they can continue to operate.
But that's why company culture and the restaurant culture and having everybody buy into the processes. There's some restaurants that we go to time and time again because we know that we're going to have good service. We know that they have it well staffed, and those places have got to just be doing gangbusters.
Yeah, and that's Trent. That's a term I call magic. The people are the magic, right? But it's more than that. It's the culture. It's the wantingness to be developed and to develop and so forth, and it's just getting a little leaner now. The number of businesses, restaurant businesses that you see actually doing that. But as they do, those places that you just talked about are consistent day in and day out. I won't say they're bulletproof. They're not, they're impacted, obviously, but you just don't see it as much. You don't feel it as much. And when you leave there, you want to come back. Well, that culture, that magic is probably the hardest recipe to create within a business. And that's where my company really comes into play, lays down the foundation, creates space for that energy and that positiveness, and then work with them to get there.
Well, later in the show, in the next segment, we're going to have Rich talk to us about some of the new restaurant clients that he's working with. But before we get to that, a couple other things we want to take care of before the news. First of all, you wanted to bring up a fundraiser for Nettie's. A lot of people have heard about the tragic fire that made the restaurant in South Omaha, Bellevue area, a total loss. But now there's something in play or planned to help out the workers.
Yes, that's going to be at Stocks and Bonds. Again, just like you said, Jeff, it's for the employees. It's a fundraiser. My friend Joe Pagenter from Artistic Sign and Design, and he's also the lead singer and drummer from Blue House. They're playing the event, and he brought it up to a networking group that I'm in. And it's an all-day event from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., I believe. They have multiple bands, and the proceeds are going to the employees. And it sounds like it's going to be a really big event and very exciting. So it's something certainly to check out. For
people that aren't familiar with where Stocks and Bonds are, where is it, do you know?
Yeah, Stocks and Bonds is in the Ralston area. I believe that's Ralston. 84th and Park Drive.
Okay.
Everybody knows where Spaghetti Works is.
Yeah, same shopping center.
It's in the same shopping center. It used to be Brewski's. Stocks and Bonds actually used to be Brewski's.
Okay.
And right next to Chrome, the old Chrome. Yeah.
Okay.
Xenon Hair Salon.
Yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Well, we're going to take our middle of the show break for the news, and then when we come back, we're going to have Rich talk to us about 6 new restaurant clients that he's working with, and this will give you a chance to get the scoop about some new places that are in play right now. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
So you guys okay with me kind of highlighting these openings that I'm doing?
So what are they? What are the 6
Yeah,
going to be?
so
we know?
They're the Rooted Table Cafe.
Okay.
That's a vegan and it's a plant-based vegan vegetarian restaurant.
That's Countryside, right?
Countryside.
That's where you go for a cleanse.
And you can go for a cleanse and the tea and the juices.
So you want a high colonic?
It would be yeah. But it's going to be a pretty cool little concept. Hey Jay's Cafe. Hey Jay's Cafe.
KJ.
As in Hay.
Hey,
J-A-Y.
Jay, okay.
Hey Jay. There's a Hey Jay's Coffee down in Saddle Creek area. This is the one that's going out at 156 near State Street. It's a full cafe, breakfast, lunch, drive-through. That's also Josh Hannum. Josh Hannum, you guys have talked about
yesterday at lunch.
He's doing the Saddle Creek development.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that whole Saddle Creek, that's his.
We've mentioned that.
And his wife, Dina, is one that's going to be operating the cafe.
Which Saddle Creek development?
Where it breaks off from Northwest Rail Highway, and they're going to build a big 5-story mixed-use apartment building there. And
They're actually buying
creating
out quite a bit of land down
yeah,
there.
they created a business improvement district
Yep,
for it.
right.
So I'm going to put this in the news there, though. Hey Jay's Cafe, 156 in State.
It's Reynolds, which is right by State.
Reynolds. Okay. I'll just say State. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And when's that going to open?
That would be late fall,
Open
23.
late fall. And will it be a breakfast or lunch? place?
Breakfast, lunch,
Okay.
drive-through,
Breakfast.
which is going to be awesome for out there.
lunch and drive-through. We'll put this in the newsletter on Thursday. Okay. And you said they have an existing location? Or
Yeah, a coffee shop.
The owners have a coffee shop?
In Saddle Creek, and they also have a coffee shop in the Blackstone area at 38th and Dodge.
That's all Hey Jay's too.
Hey Jay's.
Near Saddle Creek.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
I'm sorry, that one's being created. It's a little coffee shop.
And that one, the one in Blackstone?
Yeah, you can just say it's a coffee shop.
A new one coming to Blackstone?
Yeah,
Okay.
38th and Dodge.
Okay, good. We'll put that in Thursday's newsletter.
And then there's the others, Destiny Cafe, which I'll just talk very briefly on these. That's the 501c3 that is hiring adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities.
Was the Union Bike, was that really? Oh, that was something different. Okay.
What's this one?
It's a breakfast lunch place.
What's it called?
501. It's a Destiny Cafe.
Okay.
And it's 501c3. So I just have a quick little blurb on that. Then there's Comfort Cafe. I don't know if we want to talk about this one. It's do you know what the Elmwood Towers are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a cafe in there. They're out. This is the new cafe coming in.
Just for residents?
Just for residents.
Okay. Yeah, mention it. Yeah.
Just just a quick little thing. And then the big Ashland Brewing Company. That's the one out in Ashland. That's like when you're talking about Smash Park, it's a mini Smash Park.
Really?
So it has pickleball courts, cornhole, brew pub, rooftop deck, and two of the pickleball courts are inside, and that converts over into an event center.
This is
I got
gonna be in
real creative
Ashland?
with that one. What's that?
It's going to be in Ashland.
Yeah, right at Highway 66 and 6.
Highway 66.
It's the Whitetail
and
Development.
6.
The Whitetail Development is the development.
Who's doing the development?
That's the area.
Okay.
The area is from Prep. But you didn't go to Prep, did you? So Frank and Tim Urias, father son.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought I'd just talk just a little bit about that too.
That's really cool. I don't think I've even heard a whisper of that. So
I think I just really briefly mentioned it before. Like I think I said something about coming to Ashland because we didn't have the site picked out.
Oh, okay.
However, they bought the entire area there, so they have 4.3 acres and they're doing a full development.
So
in
they'll
there.
develop it. Okay.
Yeah. And this is one of those pieces. This is the entertainment piece. Plus, we're gonna have outdoor concerts and all kinds of shit.
So how,
there. So.
how big? It's
You're on the Uncut.
It's just uncut. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When,
Well,
when we're live, we don't want to say shit. On Uncut, we can.
Yeah.
Because Uncut's just video. So how big will the building be?
Well, right now it's about 10,600 square feet.
Just for that business?
600 square foot building.
That includes the rooftop deck.
What are they calling it?
We'll say around 10,000. All right.
Okay.
Because we're working with Allie Pointer on
And what's
this.
it called?
It's just called Ashland Brewing Company, or as I like to refer to it, ABC, which I love that acronym for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
so that'll be a big one. And then I have other clients, but they're out a little ways, or they're existing
I think we have
businesses
enough.
that don't really need
Yeah.
to be announced
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
They're not an economical growth kind of deal. So anyway, those I thought I'd just hit quick little blurbs
Yeah.
on those.
Oh yeah, I think that'll be good stuff. Have you heard any updates, progress on Ancho and Agave?
I have not in Village Point.
Yeah.
No, they went into a big space there. didn't they?
Huge. It was Pier 1. From what I understand, I think they're taking the whole store.
Who's running that?
Ancho and Agave.
Is it national?
That's
Yeah,
a
it's,
national.
out of Illinois. It's like there are only a couple locations, I think.
Oh, is that right?
I think
I-
it looks like it's a big
That
national.
reminds me of what is it? Isla de Mar. Isla de Mar.
Yeah.
Huge building.
Yeah. Is that open yet in West
What's the
Omaha?
second one?
I know.
Is the second one open yet?
It's in Gordon's.
I drove by a couple weeks ago. It wasn't open.
So I didn't
No,
think
it,
of
it
that.
looked a little ways out, but I think
Yeah.
they're going to do a market in there also.
Oh,
which
really?
is
Okay.
actually pretty smart.
Was that Big Lots or is it next to Big Lots? Big Lots moved?
No, Aldi moved.
Aldi moved.
Yeah, Aldi moved to the west, to the south, and then you gotta read our prescriptions for that, Rich. There's medication. There is medication.
I have limp mic.
So then also, let's see. You mentioned Aldi and Hobbs. We've talked about that.
I've never been there.
I don't think I have either. Oh, one thing, you said there might be a new restaurant coming to Mahoney State Park?
Well, they're in search. They're in
Okay.
search for. So, you
So is
can't
that to
really go.
replace?
Yeah, the what sixth tenant that's been out there already.
So were those all private, or were they ever just part of the department?
I thought they were. Well, I think the first one was
Parks and Rec
state,
or
but then I think the
whatever.
rest were private.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
But they're just in the search, so there's nothing
Okay.
really to announce there.
You know, and you had given me that tip on Sips on 10th a while back, and I got a hold of the owner, and we reported on that. So that sounds like it was pretty cool.
Moots is still in the work. Moots
Okay.
Pizzeria in Countryside.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Moots. I tell you what, I heard Dave's Hot Chicken was busy yesterday.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard that was busy.
Yeah, I heard it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been some kind of.
I love that
There's
stuff.
been kind of sketch reviews on it, but it's a new opening.
Yeah.
And they're getting crushed.
Yeah.
I heard churches doing really well.
I can't even get in.
Churches?
Yeah, you can't get in.
Just sign in and sound
I tried. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid sitting here in the KFAB penthouse studio high above Underwood Avenue. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Tell you what, Dingman's Collision Center is a company you want to keep in the back of your head. We hope you don't have to use them, but you're probably going to need them at some point in time. Sometimes it's not even an accident. Sometimes you just have one of those scoundrels who parks next to you in a parking lot and doesn't know how to back out his car and gets a little too close to you and just scrapes a chunk of paint off of your left quarter panel. When that happens, go to Dingman's Collision Center. They'll take care of you very quickly. And they have how many locations, Trenton? 4 all over the metro area. Best of Omaha winner, and there's good reason for it. They
They
do
do
a great
mechanical
job.
work as well.
And it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. NoddleCompanies.com knows the commercial real estate business like none other. They've got developments all over the country, but we really care about the ones they have here in the Omaha metro area. And it's interesting. We talked earlier about Children's Hospital doing a big outpatient center. They're going to be moving operations out eventually of the Village Point Medical Center campus, which is a Noddle project. And then that will make more room for Nebraska Medicine to grow there. Nebraska Medicine is becoming huge at Village Point.
We got the third building.
Yeah, and then the fourth building's under construction right now. That's a 3-story, 120,000 square foot building expected to be completed this spring. It's 175th and Burke Street, but basically, if you're in Village Point and you look to the southwest, those really attractive looking brick and stone office buildings are the Village Point Medical Center campus. And then just to the west of that, it's an empty field right now, but there's a lot of talk about what Noddle Companies is going to build right on the southwest corner of 180th and Dodge.
By Walgreens.
Yeah, kind of opposite.
Yeah.
So kind of, let's call it northwest of Walgreens, southwest of 180th and Dodge. Can't remember exactly how many acres are there, but this is going to be mixed use. They're talking to cool retailers, have some living units in there, maybe an office.
You're talking about next to the apartments at the Broadmoor Hills.
Yeah. So
You're talking, okay.
yeah.
Southwest, I mix in developments.
Yeah, it happens. There's so many developments in this town, it's hard to keep track of all of them. And that is your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies, NoddleCompanies.com. We have Rich Barmettler with us. He is a well-known restaurant consultant, bar consultant, restaurant rescue kind of guy, but he also works with restaurants even before they get started. And Rich, that's where we want to start. You wanted to highlight about 6 new restaurants that you're currently working with.
Yeah, I thought it might be a nice little little chat to kind of give a update of what's going on. So I'll go into one of them right away. It's called Hey J's Cafe, not AJ's, but Hey J's, Hay. Like heck.
Like,
right.
hey.
Yeah. And that's Josh and Dina Hannum that are putting that together. They do have a small coffee shop, a drive-through coffee shop down in the Saddle Creek area right now, and they have one coming soon to the Blackstone area of 38th and Dodge. Well, where I come into play is I'm working with Dina and Josh on creating Hey J's Cafe that's going to be going out at 156 and Reynolds, which is right by State Street. Josh is actually doing the development himself. It'll be a 3-tenant building, and Dina will be taking about 3,000 square feet, and it's a breakfast, lunch kind of concept, and we're going to have a drive-through there also.
And when will that open?
We're looking, I would say, late fall, early winter. Josh and Dina, don't hate me for saying that, but that's the time frame that we're saying we're going to land on. And anyway, so I think that'll be an excellent concept for out in that area.
Absolutely.
If you kind of think of the growth that's happening, school systems, the whole 9 yards.
Opening
residential.
number 2.
Opening number 2.
No,
me.
You're
oh,
next.
Okay,
You're next
you're
client.
saying keep moving, Rich. Got it. All right. Destiny Cafe. This is a very cool concept that warms my heart. I'll say it's a 501c3. Joan Allen is the leader of that charge, and this is a cafe, breakfast and lunch cafe that will be employing adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. And again, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. And we're currently in site search right now and capital campaign, fundraising. It's going well, and I would anticipate that to be most likely a 2024 opening. But you never know how things can move, quickly. Speaking of moving quickly, I'm on to the next one.
Thank you.
This is Comfort Cafe. This is a little shout out to Shauna Murphy and Ron. They are opening up a little, call it a scratch kitchen, old home recipe kind of cafe that's going into the Elmwood Towers. They have roughly, I think, around 250 residents in there, and it'll be primarily for the residents and their families. And that'll be actually opening next month.
And the Elmwood Tower is the very tall building in the Leavenworth Midtown District east of Exarban. A lot of people don't realize currently the third tallest building in Omaha.
I never knew that until,
Soon to be fourth. Anyway, Go ahead, Rich.
Great. Then there's the Ashland Brewing Company. This is in the Ashland area at Highway 66 and 6. Large-scale development. Frank and Tim Urias, that's father Frank, son Tim, are putting this one on. They purchased the land out there. It's actually a full-size development, multiple acres. And their spot is going to be called, like I said, Ashland Brewing Company. And it's going to be a 5-barrel system for those that know brewing. And it's a brew pub, rooftop deck. So kind of think of some of the rooftop decks around town and how popular they are. They're going to have one of those. It has 4 pickleball courts, 2 inside. Those 2 inside will be converted over for event space as needed. And then there's a lot of outdoor area with fire pit seating, soft seating, cornhole games, and even crosses over into entertainment for when we want to have any kind of music out there.
And that's about a 10,000 square foot building, right?
Yeah, right in that area. Right. And that's being worked on right now as far as right sizing it.
It's kind of like, what is that, Jukes and Elkhorn, but a bigger version of that?
Yeah, Jukes on steroids, maybe. Now, their brewing system is bigger.
Not real steroids.
Their brewing system is bigger at Jukes, but the facility will be bigger at Ashland Brewing Company.
Well, and we've been talking a lot lately about how Ashland is really coming along. Like their downtown area has some really cool shops and bars and restaurants, and a lot of people are moving into those lake developments in and around Ashland. And now you put in a 10,000 square foot brew pub entertainment center. That's a big time step forward for Ashland.
It is, and it's fortunately it's a distance from the Smash Park. This has been in the works before Smash Park was ever announced. But Smash Park and that La Vista area is kind of its own little city in itself of entertainment. And it's amazing, as I was doing a feasibility study for this Ashland Brewing Company, of the amount of tourists and travelers that come through that area. You obviously know there's a lot, but when you do the numbers, it is pretty mind-blowing. So we're very confident that it'll succeed there. It's a very cool concept, very cool owners, and doing a really good job on the due diligence for it. then moving on to my last one that I was going to mention is a spotlight on Rooted Table Cafe. And that's Cindy and CJ Gunsel that are the owners. And this is going into the Countryside Village at the northeast corner, right near the Le Cordier Bakery. And it's a plant-based vegan and vegetarian concept. And it will have your typical categories of some appetizers, salads, bowls, entrees, items like that. Heavily involved with the cold pressed juicing and smoothies, coffee, so forth like that.
Are they going to grow their own produce in the basement?
They're not. No, we're not doing that. But anyway, it'll have a patio area outside, dine in, and we expect a lot of grab and go business, delivery, to go, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And they're very, very tied in with the community, the vegan and vegetarian community. And their sayings, which were really pretty clever, that came up: plants nourish people, which is basically highly nutrient foods and vibrant colors, and then people thrive together. And those two elements right there are their mission. Or like I was saying before, the magic. This is going to be the magic that comes out of it. And when people thrive together, it's the community gathering and education that they're looking to bring to the forefront.
And Rich, when is the estimated opening for Rooted Table?
That would be, we'll call it late summer, mid to late summer. Like all owners, they would like to have it before then, but somewhere in that time frame. So it'll be coming, and it'll be nice because it'll be theoretically it'll be launched before the schools are back in school. We anticipate a lot of business off of Westside and also the other churches and schools around there.
It's great to see that the diversity of types of restaurants and establishments coming to Omaha. You can tell we're getting bigger and bigger by people getting more segmented and trying different things.
Yeah, and one thing to talk about there, way back in the day, it used to be the big segments are the types of food were fast food, full service, and fine dining.
Right.
And now you literally have probably a dozen different ways of describing, all the little slices in there, and it just becomes more diversified. It's better for the consumer.
So, Rich, we're going to wrap up, but before we let you go, we have a lot of foodies and people in the restaurant business who listen. Anyone who's thinking about starting a restaurant concept,
Buying a restaurant,
how do they work with you?
Yeah, typically there's an introduction. I have no advertising budget. It's all word of mouth. And people will reach out to me or give me a note on Facebook, on my email, rbcgroup at cox.net, or my phone through a person. Usually it comes my way. And then I'll reach out to them. And what I do is just a discussion talk. It's not a strategy session. It's just an initial fee-free discussion on what they're looking to do. And then from there, we may do a discovery meeting and then get a little roll up the sleeves and kind of see what's really happening, what's under the hood. Let's see where they are. And then I'll share what I can do and what my company does, how we operate, how we charge, and so forth, and go from there.
Okay. Well, Rich Barmettler, bar and restaurant consultant, helping bar and restaurant owners not only on the front end, but also sometimes in rescue situations. Good to have you back on the show. Thank you for sharing so much restaurant news with us.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Trenton.
Yep.
And I tell you what, that's not the only restaurant news, because we have the Turner Construction Lightning Round coming up. And when I look at the list, I'm seeing all sorts of restaurant, retail, and even some other news on there. So don't miss any of it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing, and Turner Construction. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. That was good stuff.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I appreciate
We
it.
didn't get to the closing, but I figure if there was one thing that the cut, it would be
Yep.
the depressing stuff.
Yep.
So.
Because the last time I was on, there were a lot of closing information to share, because that was kind of at a peak of it.
Yeah.
And that we shared a few of those, and I just kind of felt, you know what? If
not, you should.
It's already out in the news.
What's the charity? What's
Yeah.
the charity restaurant called?
Destiny Cafe.
Destiny.
Well, and I
This
do.
probably wouldn't be appropriate for the Destiny Cafe as well.
Probably not.
This would not be appropriate.
Okay, is this the true Trenton?
This is something, but let's not have this on. Let's not let Grow Omaha.
I don't. Oh no.
Don't
No.
zoom in on that.
No. Funny, but horrible.
You're hilarious, but you're sick.
Sorry. Yeah, let me emphasize you're sick so I feel better about saying you're sick.
You want
but
that?
My God, that was funny.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I don't even want that.
You are
No.
one funny sick bastard.
No. I don't even. That is something that I would pull up. But there's only a few people I could probably show that to. And it would not be.
Hopefully you're one of them.
You're not going to hell because you didn't create it.
I think you're gonna be driving. I think you're gonna be driving the bus.
Hell.
I don't think you're on the bus. I think you're driving the bus.
If you created it, definitely.
It just depends on who's your passenger right next to you, right, Jeff?
I resemble that remark. Oh man.
Who said that?
What's that?
I resemble that remark.
Everyone says that.
Is it the real proper way to say it?
I resemble that remark.
You resemble.
How else would you say it?
Resemble. What does that mean?
In other words, you basically
I resent.
You basically said something that was true to me, because it's supposed to be I resent that, but you say I
Right.
resemble that.
I've heard that. I don't know.
Because it basically means like, yeah, you tagged me, I'm guilty as charged. Yeah.
Wasn't that Leslie Nielsen who said that in like one of those movies?
A Naked Gun?
I think so.
I didn't think it was.
That's kind of like
that far.
the cop pulling over the drunk guy, and he goes, "Is that a bottle in front of me or a funnel in bottom of me?"
Sir, you're coming with me.
Yeah,
Here we go. You're going to have about 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes. Okay, we'll have fly through this fast.
and I'm not on this.
News Radio 1110 KFAB.
They can be here.
At home.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
KFAB on iHeartRadio.
And it's the Turner Construction Lightning Round, brought to you appropriately by Turner Construction. They are the world-class contractor that is taking Omaha, I don't know if you'd say by storm, because they're really more like just integrating themselves into the community.
Whirlwind.
Again, but
We're taken up by Whirlwind.
Whirlwind, yeah. So anyway, we love Turner Construction because they have deep resources, a deep bench, a deep track record of success with both small and blockbuster projects. And they do it all. Full service contractor that has international resources, but here in Omaha, in a lot of ways, just kind of acts like a local contractor. So we thank Turner Construction for bringing us the lightning round and recommend you call them if you're looking for a contractor or a great place to work in the construction trades. All right, let's get into it. Bottles and Barrels plans to open soon, 204th and Q Street, going to be a self-serve wine and liquor store with cool pouring technology, similar to what you may have remembered in the old brick store at Village Point. Sad news, the Fire Barn, sports-themed restaurant filled with firefighter memorabilia in Waterloo, closing permanently on January 21st. Owned by the same person who happens to be Waterloo's fire chief, who is the owner of Farmer Brown's nearby. Good news, Farmer Brown's opening for lunch starting January 24th to make up for Fire Barn being closed. Radical Minds, new private school that serves children with autism, as least 2,500 square feet, right near 156th and Blondo.
Perfect.
That was done by Chris Falcone in our office, Trenton. F45 Training will hold a grand opening Thursday, January 19th for its new location in Pepperwood Village. It's a fitness business out of Austin, Texas. 1,750 locations.
It's worldwide.
In 45 countries. Trenton, we've got a new coffee business coming to La Vista.
Very excited for my friends at Coffee Society Cafe, right near 108th and Giles Road. It's on Virginia Plaza. You can't miss it. They open a week from today to the public from 6 a.m. to 7 at night. It's the Hebner family. It's a family affair. They developed that building, good friends, and Kevin Hebner also has Core Construction. So I can't speak highly enough about it, and go check it out. It's the Coffee Society Cafe, opening the 21st.
Baked After Dark in Benson is closing January 21st. The cookie company has cited the high cost of ingredients. The Monarch Grill by La Paz has replaced Pop and Smoke Southern Grill inside the American Legion Post 32 in downtown Papillion. La Paz is a Mexican restaurant out of Lincoln. Bank of America is going to replace a former Bank of the West. So if you can picture 85th and Dodge, there's the brand new Little King there, and then there was a vacated bank building that is coming down.
Yeah, so they're tearing that down, and it looks like they're taking the building down. I doubt that they're going to retrofit it, but maybe they just keep the sign and change a few letters. But Bank of America, I think this is the first retail location. They've got a office space near 132nd and West Dodge Road, but so I don't know if we're going to see more Bank of America retail locations as well.
I'm very curious about that too. I mean, B of A is one of the true banking heavyweights in the United States.
Well, I know of another couple of banks that are doing retail locations. Before, they're getting rid of drive-through locations and making them smaller and stuff. But I think they realize that people want to drive through and people want to see physical locations.
Yeah, and that will be high profile as it gets right there on Dodge. The winery in Clock Tower Village, which is right across from the West Roads, has reopened. This was a popular place. It had closed back in 2018. People loved the winery, and now it's got new ownership, and it's back.
Yeah, Holly Jones and Julie Hockney, who's a wonderful interior designer, friends of ours, and they're bringing it back. It'll be
cool.
Right up to the West Roads Ring Road.
Yeah. And then Dave's Hot Chicken has opened. We mentioned it was opening last week, their first Nebraska location. This is a fast-growing restaurant chain out of Los Angeles, and they are up and running Saddle Creek, just north of Dodge. The music's playing, which means no more Jeff and Trenton for this week. We're going to miss you, but we'll talk with you next week as well, so hang in there. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and Turner Construction. We'll chat with you again next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.